Madam Speaker, House Resolution 1210 comes before us as thousands of frontline law enforcement officers come here to this Capitol to ask for our help to restore a justice system that was once the envy of the world, but in recent years has been undermined by woke district attorneys who refuse to enforce our laws, woke city councils that insult and defend our law enforcement, and woke federal officials who refuse to secure our border, which is becoming an increasing source of deadly drugs, terrorists, criminal gangs, and criminal cartels who illegally cross our borders daily. Just a week ago, I noted on this floor that on the first day that Joe Biden took office, he rescinded the successful Remain in Mexico policy that had slowed phony asylum claims to a trickle. He completely blocked completion of the border wall, and he ordered ICE to stop enforcing court-ordered deportations, and thus began the largest illegal mass migration in history. But I need to update the numbers this week that I cited last week. To date, this administration has now deliberately released a total of 4.9 million illegal aliens into our communities, and it's allowed another 1.9 million known gotaways to evade the Border Patrol as the Border Patrol has been overwhelmed. So the new numbers combined nearly 6.8 million illegal aliens who have entered this country because of the Democrats' open border policies. That is now a population larger than the entire state of Indiana, our 17th largest state with 9 congressional districts. Now, I expect the Democrats will complain that we're bringing up yet another measure condemning these policies. Well, I have news for them. They need to get used to it. We're going to keep bringing it up until these policies are reversed or until the people can elect an administration that can and will. I suspect we'll hear the Democrats today, as we have on so many past debates, assert that immigrants are more law-abiding than Americans. Well, listen carefully to what they say. They make no distinction between legal immigrants and illegal immigrants. And that is a supreme insult to the millions of legal immigrants who enter our country every year by obeying our laws, waiting patiently in line, and doing everything our country asks of them. Legal immigrants come here pledged to pull their weight, not to be a burden on others, to obey our laws, and to love and defend our country. Illegal immigrants come here under very different circumstances. Their first act is to commit a federal crime by illegally entering our country. Their second act is to demand free food, shelter, medical care, clothing, education, transportation, and legal services. I have watched them at the border taunting our Border Patrol as they illegally cross into our country. To equate their lawless behavior with law-abiding, hardworking, and patriotic legal immigrants is an outrage, and my colleagues who do so should be ashamed of themselves. The number of terrorist suspects the Border Patrol has encountered has ballooned exponentially, and law enforcement officials are warning that among the 1.9 million known gotaways, mostly single military-aged men, is likely a dangerous fifth column which could soon launch devastating attacks within our borders. Fentanyl brought in through the open border is killing hundreds of Americans every day. Democrats' sanctuary policies hamstring attempts to deport criminal illegal aliens. And worst of all, the admission of untold thousands of the most vicious gang members on the planet are now producing a terrible butcher's bill of murders and assaults upon Americans. And their contention that illegal immigrants are more law-abiding is simply gaslighting. Here are the real numbers. When the Federation for American Immigration Reform looked at the actual numbers reported by state prisons in order to get reimbursement from the federal government, they discovered the tragic truth. Now again, these are the requests states make to be reimbursed for the cost of incarcerating illegal aliens, and those numbers reveal that aliens are 231% more likely to be jailed for crimes in California, 440% more likely in New Jersey, and 60% more likely in Texas, just to name a few. 231% more likely to be jailed in California, according to their own scape numbers. But you won't find that anywhere else, because it's illegal in California to otherwise report the immigration status of criminals and criminal suspects. So by their criteria, not a single crime is ever committed by illegals in California. Yet at the same time, they report their jails are overflowing. This is lunacy, and it's got to stop. Our law enforcement officers know this because they deal with this crisis every day at the peril of their own lives. Our angel families know this all too well as they grieve their loved ones lost to this entirely preventable tragedy. Now, the House can and has written laws that will make it easier for future presidents like President Trump to secure our borders and would make it harder for future presidents like Joe Biden to open them. But ultimately, this is an enforcement problem. When I visited with the Border Patrol agents in Yuma last year, I reminded them that the Congress writes laws, but we can't enforce them. I asked them what laws they needed us to write. And they unanimously answered, we don't need new laws, we need to enforce our existing laws. When Republicans visited Eagle Pass in January, the sector chief there said, I'm standing in front of an open fire hydrant with a bucket. I don't need more buckets, I need somebody to turn off the hydrant. Donald Trump did that. And despite vicious opposition from the Democrats, he finally got that hydrant down to a dribble. Biden opened it full force with his first executive acts that he signed. And that's a problem that can only be fixed by replacing this administration with one determined to secure our border, defend our country, protect our people, and uphold the rule of law. And that can only be done by the American people at the ballot box. Until then, Republicans in the House will keep raising this issue at every opportunity because at the moment, that's all that we can do.